Hey, what is going on, everybody? How are you all doing today? I hope you all are having a wonderful and fantastic day today, and if not, hopefully you all will have a better tomorrow. So today I wanted us to discuss Adam Taurus, whether he's a good or bad villain in the RWBY series. So, just wanted to discuss this because this is something that was on my mind, thought it was very interesting, and so I just wanted to point out, whether Adam may be a good villain or not. So sit back, relax, and let's go ahead and get this whole thing started. So, Adam Taurus. We need to discuss this guy for a quick moment and talk about whether he is a good or a bad villain. Now, of course, as we've seen, what makes a good villain not necessarily is because of power. Now, of course, Adam Taurus obviously has power. He is shown to have power within the first trailer that he premiered in, which was the Black trailer. And, of course, over time, he's shown to actually have a lot of power. But power is not something that makes a villain good. Power is not something that makes a villain defining. I mean, yes, it is one of their traits, but it is not what makes them as good of a villain as they are. Now, of course, one thing that really can make a villain stand out can be their looks, and Adam has a cool and sleek design, but at the same time, that's not exactly what makes him a good villain either. Now, what makes a villain, recognizable definitely has to do with looks. Power and looks are something that's going to make you remember a villain. And of course, Adam has had some actions that has shown him to be very, memorable. We will always remember this character, and, but this is not, his looks and his power have not made him something that has, made him like a favorite villain, for example. Now, what makes a villain good, which I want to get into this for a moment before we jump into Adam and what makes him good. What makes a villain good in my eyes, at least this is my opinion, is if a villain themselves are just evil and they love being evil for the sake of being evil. One thing that makes a villain very good at being a villain is the fact that they can spread the tyranny and the anger and the pain to others, and they just don't care. They have no sympathy, and Adam, in this regard, has seemed to not have sympathy. And, it's very interesting because there are a lot of characters and several different series, whether it be shows, movies, other anime and things of that sort. We have seen villains over time, and I'm sure you all can agree, you have seen villains in different series that always are memorable for, their actions or what they've done to make them a memorable villain. And, of course, there are some villains that are not so good villains. But which category does Adam Taurus stay in? Does he stay in the good villain category or the bad one? So now, one thing that's interesting is obviously the way that he treats the characters he's against. Like, for example, him and Blake. That is one defining factor that shows that Adam has a good part of being a good villain. Now, of course, and this is interesting because if you think about it, him and Blake, they had a relationship in the past, and of course, that is something that he holds on to, and Blake remembers it as well because it is something that actually traumatized her because of his actions, because of the kind of person that he was. Because, Adam was certainly not a good person. He was certainly, was an individual that literally cared for himself, and he would let anyone die to get whatever he wanted. And of course, that's a very evil thing to do, to get, just let anybody die, even if they are his own comrades, and just let them die off so that he can get what he wants. So that shows that that's a good villain trait because he's that evil that he doesn't care, that it's just about him. And of course, what he does is he puts the mental trauma onto individual characters because fear is what he is entitled upon Blake. He has put fear into her, and that's what always makes her remember him because he was a fearful person. And of course, she even states herself, in Volume 5 of RWBY, that, she saw different things within him, and spite being the biggest thing. And that's pretty much what he holds on to. He's a spiteful individual who will just kill and destroy and take anything he wants. And of course, not only this, but he traumatized Yang, amputating her arm, just cutting it straight off. And Yang has, before this moment, she was, back from volume 1 through 3, she was an unbreakable character. She was a very strong character and a very independent character, and she was very unbreakable. But this one moment broke her. I mean, and it makes sense. But Adam was able to strike the fear into Yang, and sadly, not only did he strike the fear into her, but she remembers. It traumatized her. She has PTSD because of the moments that he was able to just do this one thing to her, and she doesn't forget it. As a matter of fact, in Volume 4, she had a nightmare, I think we can remember, of Adam and how she was traumatized and she felt completely, worthless in front of him, just useless, and she was scared, and this shows that Adam is a powerful force, that he just dominates his foes with fear. And that's an interesting thing. And of course, the whole Sienna Khan, that shows that as a villain, he does not care and he will murder anybody that gets in his way as well. He will take out anybody that gets in his way. The competition to him, just gone. He will eliminate it. He will throw it out there. And this shows traits of a good villain. This is actually something that's very good. Because, yes, of course, Sienna Khan died, and is very unfortunate because we could have potentially seen development out of her character, but she is dead because of Adam. And the thing that Adam's proving out of this is that he is a good villain. He strikes down anything he wants, and he enjoyed killing Sienna Khan. He had no remorse for her death. He was just like, oh, I'm the leader of the White Fang now. Don't really care. So he showed that he doesn't care. He showed that he is to that point where he's not really redeemable. And of course, that this means that he's probably going to become more and more evil over time. There is a character I'm going to refer to in this. I'm sure people may know who Hiro Mashima is. Hiro Mashima is the creator of Fairy Tail, and another series that was before Fairy Tail, which was a very popular one, which was Rave, or known as Rave Master. And one of the villains that I think is one of the best villains in anime/manga history, in my opinion, is Lucia. I think that he is one of the best villains ever, and Hiro Mashima created this character to be a despisable villain, but we hated him so much that he was a good villain. That's what made him so good. And Adam Taurus, in this degree, is like Lucia. He is hated. We all hate him, but at the same time, we like him because of his villainous ways, but we hate him for what he's done. He's that much of a villain, and he's that much of a character that makes him good, because if you see a character that is, this evil and does these terrible things that makes you hate them, that makes it a good villain. That really makes them a good villain. And a lot of people could argue and say, but they're terrible, makes them bad. Now, realistically, because of a villain being hated, that's the whole point of making a villain. You want to make a villain to be hated. You want to make a villain to be this evil, dastardly figure. And by making Adam a hated villain, it shows that he's a good villain because he's doing his job. He's doing his job of making you hate him, and that's the whole point behind Adam's character. He is made to make you hate him. And it's a very interesting thing. So, in my opinion, yes, Adam is a good villain through making you hate him. Through making you just dislike this character. But anyways, you all, let me know what you think down below. Just tell me what you think about Adam, whether you like him, whether you hate him, or whether you agree with me or disagree with me. I'd like to hear from you. Like this video if you thought this was enjoyable, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and share this with your friends if you found this informative or interesting. But anyways, take care of yourselves, have a wonderful day, and remember, if today was not a good day, tomorrow can always be better. Take care.